What is so funny now? You already got
So
the
we got the
giggles.
same greeting.
Yeah, there. It's synced.
I'm not gonna be able to see. Well, I can see your comments a little bit.
Yes, you can see the comments there. Waiting on your YouTube page. So
Where are your glasses? You don't need them?
I'm gonna get in
I
there.
see the
You
comments
wonder
a
what
little
the
bit.
see? You okay? Throw me off. Let me do my work here. You're interrupting me here.
But you said we were live already.
Yeah, we are. This is why I like working alone. This is
Whatever.
why I like working alone.
I don't
They
care.
they can't see you right now.
What?
I mean, yeah, no, they can't see you now. They can't. I don't know if they can hear us because you got me moving my mic out of the way.
Then
So
ask the people.
I'm gonna ask him right now. So we already live. Anyway, welcome to Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods. I am Seiko.
And I'm Sharon.
Welcome to our channel. Please do the following. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell at the bottom of this video. That way, whenever we go live and post any content, you'll be one of the first to view it. Hopefully, y'all can hear us. My wife has come in my office and is telling me how I need to have my mic position because she said she didn't want the mic all in her face. So hopefully, you all can hear. If not, I'm going to reposition the mic, but.
Y'all, it was all up in here. It was right here. I'm like, dude, I can't talk with that thing right there.
So as you can see, this is going to be an interesting live. I mean, basically, she's going to be trying to tell me how to run my life in studio. And
is this not our show?
Yeah, only for today. Only for today. Only for today. So please, ladies and gentlemen, Facebook family, make sure everybody's here. Facebook. See, I know YouTube family is here. Welcome,
hi,
everybody. Cure for the Soul,
hi,
Chelsea, Delano,
Cure for the Soul. Hi,
Pocahontas. Here's okay. Vina, let me go ahead and tell you right now. I'm just going to just put her.
Vina.
I'm going to put her name in here right now. Go ahead and get this thing set up right now. Get the housekeeping rules established.
Leave my sister alone.
Right now, Vina. You're not gonna tell me, leave Miss Sharon alone. You ain't gonna be messing with Miss Sharon. I'm not messing with anybody. Okay. All I'm doing here is trying to. Here's another one. So I got both of them in here now. Isn't that convenient and timely? You got both of them. I got Vina and I got Natasha. So basically, she got her clique up in here, gonna try to tell me how I need to, conduct myself on my channel.
That's okay.
But she can talk to me crazy and clown me and all that kind of stuff. But I guess that's whatever privilege. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining us here. We are live, special Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods. If you'd like to support the ministry financially, you can do that through the donation information at the bottom of the video. BCV gear, you can do that as well. Located at the bottom of the video. We definitely appreciate you all. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. We are going to have an interesting conversation on today. So hopefully you guys have your snacks. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not. Have I not said, Sharon? Have I not said people get your snacks?
You already coming out the gate starting.
All my life, I had to fight. I shouldn't have to fight in my own house, but that's okay. I'm saying, okay, have something that you can munch on. Okay. Yeah, but was it catchy though? Was it catchy? Was it catchy?
Oh Lord.
Was it catchy? See? Okay, so listen. If you all saw the post that I had put up earlier this week from Relationship Rules, we're going to discuss that, and also we're going to open up the chat if you want to come up to talk about this. It's the bond. I see you in the green room. We're going to be discussing marriage, so we're not going to be talking about slavery on today. That'll be another topic for another time. So if you're in the green room wanting to discuss that, brother, we're gonna probably have to postpone that conversation for another date. But yeah. And so all the channels, I made all the channels simultaneous. But I would like for you all, if you have not subscribed to our marriage channel,
Please do so.
We need to have those subscriptions up. That way, if we want to do a live on the marriage channel, we don't have to use the BCV channel to do that. But I wanted to make sure that we had that kind of traffic for those who may still follow the marriage channel. Excuse me, there, to be able to chime in and to join in on that. So yeah. So anyway, just wanted to touch base on that. All right. So Miss Woods, you read the post. I'm going to share the screen in just a moment. Again, I'm going to also put the link up. If you would like to chime in on this issue, we would love to hear your thoughts. Married or single, it doesn't matter. Married or single. If you would like to cam up with us, we'll put the link in the chat. Matter of fact, I've already pinned the link on the YouTube channel. All right. So I'll go ahead and do it here for those of you may want to jump in and chime in and share your thoughts and comments regarding this topic. And we're gonna keep it real. We are going to keep it real. All right. So this is the link on both sides. Hey, Heaven. Heaven is from Odessa.
From Odessa.
Yep.
Hey.
What's going on, girl? All right. So we're gonna have this conversation. We're gonna keep it real. All right. So let me go ahead and share the screen and we'll get this party started. Now, can y'all hear us okay? I just want to make sure y'all can hear us okay. So that way there's no fading or anything like that. Hopefully you all can. All right. Good. Thank you, Tiff. Thank you all. Appreciate it. All right. So here we go, y'all. Listen, this is dated August 31st, so just a few days ago, from Relationship Rules. This is a relationship website. And this husband, has shared a story regarding his marriage with his wife and weight gain. You saw the description that I put in there. And so basically the question I asked is, I said, you being a wife, you've gained an enormous amount of weight, 200 pounds, no kids. And since you've been married, which has resulted in your husband no longer being attracted to you, nor desiring to have sex with you. Wives, what do you do? Husbands, what do you do? Wives, how do you respond? How should you respond to your husband? Should he have that come to Jesus meeting with you and conversation with you and tell you that he's no longer attracted to you because of the enormous or excessive weight gain? But I want to read this article or this post, and we'll set that up as the foundation and springboard for this conversation here tonight. So this husband writes, he says, my wife has gained so much weight. I've lost almost all attraction towards her. Let me start off and be clear. I love my wife. She is a great person, and she balances out my hardened nature with her kindness. However, I've lost pretty much all attraction towards her. When we first met, she was never a small gal, and that is completely okay. But she has put on probably 200 pounds or so since we met, and about 140 with 150 pounds since we've been married, and it's only been 4.5 years total. I stopped initiating intercourse gradually, and I honestly didn't even notice it at first, not until she broke down and started asking if I was cheating because we hadn't been deeply intimate for 2 to 3 weeks. Then I was thinking, wow, she's right. So I started paying more attention, and I really just started noticing why. The come to Jesus moment was when I saw her getting out of the shower and her stomach was flopped over her pelvic area and her boobs were just resting on her extended stomach. I was just thinking, whoa, I have zero interest in my own wife's body. She knows she is overweight. We bought an exercise bike and got her on a noon regimen. She quit after maybe 3 weeks. I told her how I'm feeling and that it's having a direct effect on my physical attraction. That was an incredibly hard conversation to have. I'm not a particularly emotional person, and we both cried during that convo. And for her to just quit casually makes me think she doesn't care about the relationship anymore. I've tried encouragement, but ultimately we've fallen back into the sexless marriage routine. She wants kids, and honestly, I can barely maintain an erection during sex, let alone orgasm. I have to pretend I've ejaculated so she is content and doesn't have an emotional breakdown. I know that it is a little bit of enabling, but it seems like it is something I could never tell her. Well, you kind of told her now. Starting to feel like I'm doomed to either be one of those stupid revenge weight loss divorce stories, or even worse. If we don't make it, she eats herself to death. But I no longer want children with a mother that I can't even go on a hike or do the most mundane physical activities without making an excuse. A what's eating Gilbert grape isn't the life I want for my future kids. In a rare instance in my life, I have absolutely no idea what to do. Any ideas how to broach the subject again with a more successful narrative? Note, my wife and me are the same age, 29, and my looks are normal. I look fit. Asked by a fan. So that's the story. So here's the question I want to ask, ladies, and Mrs. is right here. I'm going to go ahead and close this out for a second, so that way you guys can see us and hear our reactions as well. So the question is, what should this man do? So I know some of you will say, he should love his wife. Well, okay, that goes without saying. He should love his wife. He should love his wife. Okay, great. Yes, he should love his wife. But what does that mean? What does love look like in a situation like this? Again, the man says that they've been married for 4.5 years, and either she has gained 200 plus pounds, or she is 200 pounds. I would probably think it's the former, not the latter, because he said in the
yeah. So whatever she weighed, it looks like, according to what he said, that she gained approximately 140 to 150 pounds within the 4.5 year period.
Mm-hmm. So that's on top of that.
That's on top of whatever weight she already was.
Okay, because it says right here, yeah, it says when we first met, she was never a small gal, and that is completely okay. But she has put on probably 200 pounds or so since
we met.
So then that means she's gained 200 pounds on top of the weight that she already has, so. Okay.
He said in about 140 to 150 since we've been married. So this is
fluctuated. I mean, what?
Maybe he's known her before they got married.
Okay. Yeah.
Before they got married. Mm-hmm. And then he said that was the amount, since they've been married. So I don't know what she was prior to them getting married, but like he said, she wasn't a thin girl to begin with.
Right.
She didn't start out that way.
Right. Okay. So what should the husband do? What should the husband do? I mean, okay.
Well, let's ask this question.
Okay.
If that were us,
you and I? Oh yeah, we definitely
us.
We definitely have a conversation. Matter of fact, we would have a conversation before that got to this point.
Okay.
Way before they got to this point.
Okay, but let's say we didn't. Let's say this is us.
You hope you're talking about the show.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about the situation.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's just say that I gained over 100 pounds.
On top of what you
on top of what I already weigh.
Okay, and what are some of the factors? Are there any factors? So you've had four of my babies.
But I'm talking about this scenario.
Okay, so you had no kids,
right?
Okay, we have to have a conversation. That's that.
So what would you say?
First of all, if I started noticing that, I would have a conversation like, dear, I'm noticing, there's some. I mean, when we met, this was your size. What's going on? Yeah. What's going on in your world? What's happening? Because we would have been talking, I believe, anyway. But if you had kind of like shut me out or tried to work through it yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to eventually cause me to have to probe anyway. So I would ask you,
Right.
what's going on? You know, is there anything that's going on in your heart? You know, watching how you carry yourself around the house. You know, anything like that, stress. You know, because for some people, stress causes them to eat.
Right.
For others, it causes
They're
them not
stress
to
eaters.
eat.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be one thing. But I would just have to ask you the question, like, honey, you know, dear, sweetie, baby, listen. When we talked, you know what my expectations were. You know what I like in a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and being obese, excessively overweight is not one.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a turn off for me. I would strive to be loving. I would strive to be gracious, but I would have to be truthful.
How far would you go?
How far would I go?
Yes.
I mean, I would have to make some changes, physical changes. We get you a bike.
He did that.
Okay, I'm saying. I mean, but it's only so much a husband can do, other
Mm-hmm.
than force you. I mean, hold you down and not let you eat. I mean, that's that's not going to be,
and if he's working, then he can't monitor what she's eating
right,
throughout the day,
right,
or what she sneaks in the house, or what she goes out
right,
and eats by herself.
right.
So
and we don't know if they're Christians. I don't know.
we don't know
if they're saved. So, but let's just say if they are Christians, then this would be an issue of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even say ultimately church discipline if they're part of a local church, because because you're not treating your body as the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and
you're letting yourself go, and that's gluttony. It's a sin.
So,
it's a sin, and it's a form of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's abuse against yourself, and it's also abuse toward the spouse.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, against yourself. But yeah,
it's an abuse against the spouse. And someone, I want to scroll up and read an initial comment someone had mentioned before the live had started. And let me scroll down here. I think I'm went a little bit too far up, but let me go to the beginning of this. Yes, here it is. Jennifer said this. She said, faithfulness to a husband and a wife is more than not having an affair. Letting yourself go is unfaithful. Obesity is the number one killer of Americans. Food addiction should be treated like a drug addiction. This is what Jennifer LaFontaine said. And I would have to.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think that's a very plausible argument and position to make, because it's true. What if the individuals are Christians? So that's the first thing. If they're Christians, then we need to get the church involved. We need to hold them accountable to the things that they have agreed to do.
Right.
Right. I think that's one of the things. I think also having to make changes in diet. That means the husband will have to take charge and take over and take it and take the steps necessary to remove any of those things that will cause his wife to stumble.
Do you think it would be?
Well.
Do you think it would be helpful if he worked out with her?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know if he said it here. No, that was somebody else. No, but yeah, that would be helpful. But again, but she has to want to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
So the encouragement, yes, working out, things like that. Man, he bought her, an exercise bike. So he did a few tangible expressions of love. Mm-hmm. But if he said that she started and then 3 weeks later she quit.
She stopped. Yeah.
She quit. So it's a mental thing. It's a heart issue that for whatever reason. And now we're only hearing this man's side. Right. So we don't know what the woman's side is about this. And but just based on the information that's being presented, this is an issue, I believe. If this is true, this is an issue of lifestyle choices. Mm-hmm. That's just my take on that. And this is why I'm asking for people to give their thoughts about it. Because if it's medical issues or medical reasons, I'm not a woman. That's why I had my wife here. If it's thyroid, I don't know how that stuff.
I think in this scenario that was presented here, I think this one goes a little bit deeper than that. And that's what I'm saying, Natasha, too. I agree. It's hard to make an accurate assessment without hearing her side as well. But just based on what we are hearing and what we have heard, we don't know the health issues. We don't know the mental state. Right. We don't know her, what was I going to say? Her, I don't know, her true desire to want to please her husband. Yeah. You know, and to want to look attractive to him. Right. Or feel attractive. But then that goes back to, again, her mental state. Right. Some women don't love their bodies, you know, the way that it is. And then they end up damaging themselves even more because they don't love the way they look. Yeah. And instead of working on the way they look, they kind of add more trauma to the body, if you could say that. Yeah. So then I guess, so Murder says she needs a medical and psychological workup. Something is wrong that she's not telling him about. It's and again, that's possible. It's possible. There's a lot of possibilities, a lot of variables and nuances that we don't know about this situation, but we do know this based on the information. Just based on information that's presented here in this, on that post, that the woman is obese. Okay. And perfect said, how would we address someone who is bulimic or anorexic? We would have to deal with the mind and deal with their heart. Because all of these things start with the heart. The Bible says, guard our hearts, for out of it flows the issues of life, in Proverbs 4:23. So it's anything that we do, it's a heart issue. Right. And I'm not sure what everybody's views are when it comes to biblical counseling and psychological stuff like that. We believe in whole synesthetic counseling. We believe that the Word of God gives us answers for how we are to live in this life. Before Darwin, before the DSM-4 or 5 ever came into existence, we had the Word of God. When you read Psalm 19, verses 7 through 11, it gives us how effective the Word of God is if or when we apply it to our lives. If the Word of God is powerful enough to save our souls, then the Word of God is powerful enough to keep our bodies. I just believe that. But everything that we do, I think, is based on choices. I think that a lot of times we don't want to address the elephant in the room when it comes to these weight issues. People want to call it weight shaming. People want to call it, you just attack. No, listen, if a person is obese or fat or whatever, we need to call it for what it is. Now, when you're attacking somebody, you're trying to demean them. That's right. That's different. But when you're holding someone accountable because of the things that they're doing to their bodies, then that's an act of love. I believe that's an act of love because you're considering what's best for them, and you're not more so focusing on yourself. But it's hard to deal with that individual and then also deal with your own heart when that individual is not taking the necessary steps to do their part. So then you have to deal with, so now I guess in this situation, this scenario, the husband has to deal with his heart. Yeah. And how he's responding to his wife, how he's treating his wife, how he is still loving his wife. Right. And being able to, and we don't know if they're Christians or not. Right. But being able to help her stay accountable. Right. And then also you have to think about another factor. She wants children. So that's more weight. Yeah. But see, the doctors are going to tell her she's going to have to lose weight prior to her even conceiving. That's 9 times out of 10 what they say when you are overweight and you want to conceive a baby. They're going to ask you to try to lose a few pounds before you conceive because they know already you're going to gain between 30, 40, 50 pounds when you have a baby. Yeah, and Chelsea said, and y'all need to subscribe to Chelsea's live line, subscribe to Cure for the Soul as well. She said it has to click for her. He can't force it. Right. And Chelsea, you said I lost 60 pounds myself. I would love to get you to chime in and come up to give us your story on that too as well, Chelsea, because I never would have known that you were, I want to say overweight. How would you? Well, for her, it was overweight. She wanted to lose weight. Okay, so we don't know, some people say 180 is overweight. So let me just can we address what happened to us this morning in the car on the way to church this morning?
I was attacked.
You were not.
I was attacked.
No, you weren't.
I was attacked. I was verbally accosted by my children, my daughters. See? I was verbally attacked by my daughters. Why, you may ask? I'm glad you asked. Here's why. Because I made a statement in all sincerity and innocence of my heart regarding Lizzo. I said, and I quote, no man is going to want a woman that is morbidly obese like that. Now, I didn't think that that was a wrong statement to make. God forgive me. I didn't know that as a man, you can't make comments about a woman's size. But y'all do it toward the men. And all I said was her parading herself around big like that, showing her behind literally like that. No real man wants to see that. That's just, and my daughter, like, oh my gosh, hey, what, you don't know that? I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of do because I'm a dude. Yeah, they went at me, man. They went at me. They try to go. They try to come for me in my own car, going to the house of God. And so I'm asking. Okay, so I'm asking this question then, ladies. Okay, what are your thoughts regarding Lizzo? Would Lizzo be considered, even though I was told, I was updated and informed that she is working out, she's losing weight.
Healthy,
okay,
yeah.
Fine.
They
Praise God.
They said she was a lot bigger than she is now.
Okay.
And I don't recall because I don't follow her. I don't listen to her. So I don't know what she looked like prior to now. But
is she still big?
Yeah, she is.
Would she be considered morbidly obese? Even while she's working out right now, I'm just asking because again, I'm going by what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And as men, we are visual creatures. We're seeing something. This ain't being thick. This is being morbidly obese, and from what I see and from my opinion. But I'm just asking. Ladies, give me your thoughts. Men, I would definitely like to hear some of you men. Some of you men who are single. I mean, and again, listen, to each his own. I mean, if you like, obese or big women, hey, that I'm not knocking that, but I'm saying there are health risks involved. Just like we're talking about this story here. This man has lost attraction to his own wife as a result of her gaining excessive weight. Why, we don't know, but apparently it didn't happen. It didn't happen overnight.
Right. It didn't.
But see, here's my.
It took time. It took time for that to happen.
And so Natasha, I understand that, but I guess my question is being big a subjective term? And
then what's considered big?
That's what I'm saying. So what's
because 200 looks different on certain people.
Yeah, you dealing with height, you dealing with all of that. I got that, but if you're short, mm-hmm. like you're 5'2". Mm-hmm. I'm not even gonna say a half. I know you try to throw the half in there. You're 5'2".
Matters. The half matters.
So my wife is 5'2"
and a half.
She's a shorty. Okay. If my wife is 200 and plus, matter of fact, if you're 200 and plus some pounds and you're mm-hmm. increasing, that's you're gonna be morbidly obese if you're not regulating that.
Right.
And I'm talking about regulating. I'm talking about you're putting effort. You're putting things in motion to try to lose that weight. Yeah, I did, Natasha. I did. I have seen that, but I couldn't watch all of it because that's to me. Just listen. I'm being real with y'all. I'm being real. 600 pounds. Come on, man.
But it's like
Come on, man.
And I've seen those shows, Natasha, and it's like,
come on, man.
What the man and the man is usually this big.
Come on, man.
The man is usually this big, but what I've seen the men do is they will fix this huge plate of food and set these several plates in front mm-hmm. of their girlfriend or their wife, whether they're married to her or not. But that's what I've seen when I look on these shows.
Yeah,
they fix all of this food and then set it before her like that's what she needs to eat.
Right. So let's do this because I want to keep Esteban. He wants to comment regarding this topic. So let me go ahead and try to bring him in. Esteban, can you hear us? Welcome to the broadcast, man. Welcome. First time?
Long time listener, first time on the live. How you doing, Brother Saiko?
Doing good, man. You got me and the wife.
How you doing, Miss Woods?
Good, thank you. How are you?
It's a pleasure to finally see and meet you, by the way.
Same here.
What's your thoughts, man? What's your comment about today's topic, brother?
Well, a couple of sisters in the chat made some excellent points. Let me just say this: I am a single man, and I listen. I don't necessarily. God designed men to be visual creatures.
Yeah,
He designed us that way. We are to find women, not other men, of course, but women attractive. You know, when Eve was created, I don't think Adam just, no big deal. Yep. I think he was physically attracted to her.
Of course.
And so, unfortunately, and don't get me wrong, there are some people, and I have struggled with it, full confession, I have struggled with this myself. There is a difference between attraction and lust.
Mm-hmm.
There absolutely is. But I think at the same time, this society, number one, has told men that we are not allowed to have standards. Could you imagine if a guy said, what if a guy was unemployed? I'm struggling to make, or not even unemployed, because you do have to be employed to live. But if he struggled and said, I don't make a lot. I choose to work at Burger King. Because I can't, get much better.
Your sound faded out on me, Esteban. Try it again.
Okay, yeah.
And if you have another device on, put that device on mute because you're getting some feedback in the back.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was going to say is, imagine if a guy only made so much money a year and wasn't making a whole bunch of money.
Right.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I just think that he would not be shown the same. He wouldn't be shown the same grace.
I agree.
And so I just think the double standards, again, it's just, we're not allowed to be able to hold just the same. Basically, we should be able to accept women who are big. We should be forced to accept women who are big, but it's okay for them to reject us on any type of physical characteristics, because notice how there's no fat male body positivity, but it is for women.
Okay.
And so I just think that it's just, you have to be attracted to your wife. And I think that God designed that to make sure that that there is no adultery. And when I say that, what I mean is that's the person that you're going to be with. The two are going to become one flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you should be attracted to that flesh. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that that's all you should be attracted to.
Of course. Yeah.
But I just, I mean, you see this society. I mean, for goodness sake, Lizzo.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Nobody ever said that, we have to phase on love is sexy. Nobody's forcing us to, we don't, or short people, men who are not tall.
Right.
I mean, this being big it's not healthy. And I'm glad you brought up the fact that gluttony is a sin. Now, in fairness, I will say that you don't necessarily have to be a quote unquote fat person.
Say that. Say that.
To be a gluttonous person.
You can be slim like me and be a glutton.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I will say that in fairness, but again, like I said, you know, that's part of the reason why, and and listen, I have many issues, but my issues aside, I'm not attracted to big women, and I refuse to marry a big woman.
Esteban, let me ask you to elaborate or elucidate that point a little bit. When you say you're not attracted to big women, what is your standard of a big?
It's pretty universal. Any woman over, say, 150 pounds, proportion to her height. I'm sorry. I'm just not attracted. And for some reason, your background microphone is very low. I know my volume is turned all the way up, so I just want to make sure.
Oh no, you're good on my end. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I just again, I know a lot of people are gonna, you know, because I don't look like Morris Chestnut. They're gonna, you know, say, how dare I have any? And that's another thing. Society is really pushing back on men, saying, no, we're not accepting that, because here's the thing. I mean, it's just not healthy. It's not healthy, right. Physically, mentally, or spiritually. And by the way, if there was something medical from the article that you were reading, the guy whose wife is gay, if there was anything, I mean, these people are married. If there was a medical issue, surely in 4.5 years of marriage, something, I mean, she's going to get an exam, hopefully at least once a year.
Right.
So I'm not buying that there's something medical with it. I just don't, because surely something would have come up.
I mean, and that is another, you know, thought to consider, because, you know, he didn't say that in the post. He didn't say, you know, we went to the doctor. He didn't say, you know, he didn't mention there's nothing. There's nothing in there that was medically related. So that you do have you know, a plausible point there to make too, brother. I guess now, so the question that I'm asking is, this man has said that he's losing interest in his own wife sexually, but notice, and I believe Dan, he mentioned it as well too. He observed it as well. The wife,
and I don't think, and by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I don't think it's a sin. Now, if he goes outside his union of marriage or lusts after another woman, that is sin. But she's actually committing the sin by making herself less attractive to her husband. Because again, if he went and got a job at McDonald's and they were struggling, she would be quick to throw that at him.
Yeah.
And say that he's not being a provider. So I just, along with taking care of your body, listen, if you're married to your husband or wife 50 years, obviously looks are going to fade, things are going to set, you know, but by that time, you know, you guys have been together long enough to know each other's flaws and imperfection. And that's where real love really, you know, being able to embrace someone for their imperfections, but just starting out.
Yeah, and they're 29, bro. They're only
29. And that's another thing too. This woman isn't 59 or 69. Of course, we don't expect a 59 to be in the same shape as a 29, and we need to stop making excuses for it. I watched a video a couple of years ago, and I just have to say it. It was pretty much all black women, you know, blaming obesity on racism, and I'm sorry, I just had to. I had to turn it off. I had to turn it off.
I think I remember watching that too.
I just,
I mean, somebody put a gun to your head and make you eat the pork chop. Somebody put a gun to your head.
I had to turn it off, and again, and somebody made in the comments, you know, and again, people are not going to like this, but this is part of the reasons why I don't. Sorry, I can't, because I can't make excuses for.
I understand, brother.
I just can't. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And then check this out. Perfectly said in the comments, she said men can gain too much and their manhood stops working. How do we address that? It's the same. It's the same.
Because now at that point,
but can I address that? Can I address that?
Go ahead.
There are big fat men who are married to supermodels.
Mm-hmm.
And the women are faithful and in the marriage. Maybe not faithful, but still in the marriage. Why is that? It's not the same. We can't play tit for tat because it is not the same. It's not.
Well, I think what she's mentioning is that if he lets himself go, it can have the same consequences as far as him not being able to maintain his libido, or he could, if that woman liked him at a certain weight and certain size, and he lets himself go, then he can lose. Yeah, he can. I mean, she can lose attraction to him as well too. I think that's the spirit behind what.
And I'm not. And that is perfectly. Listen, either one can be less attracted to either one. But again, most, not all, but most weight gain is voluntarily, in the sense of you voluntarily not choosing to eat healthy and work out. That is a deliberate and willful.
I agree.
So the, Brother Chavis just put in the comment section through sickness and health. Sickness and health is different,
right,
than just being lazy or just being uncaring about your body. That those are different, because again, a man's job is to provide for his family. What if I said, you know what? I don't like the corporate world. I'm going to leave my $200,000 year job and go work at Burger King. I mean, they're just not the same. They're not. And I
think that's the point and the spirit behind what is being said as well too. That these are life choices for the most part. Especially, when you are dealing with this kind of situation. You're talking about 150 to 200 pound increase of weight and over a span of 4.5 years. Yeah. I mean, that's
and we can address
with no children. I mean,
right. and exactly, no children at that. So now again, me personally, I think he should have said something from the very beginning, because and for those of anyone out there thinking that this man is not, or thinking that this man is shallow, he admitted that she was a big woman going into the marriage, and he was okay with that. So we cannot accuse this man of just wanting her for her looks or being shallow. We cannot. But he has limits.
Yeah.
And obviously she's gone way over those limits. Way over.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, there's no such thing for fat shaming men.
Right.
Show me the fat Chippendales dancers.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, and for men to be viewed, to get called, lustful, prideful, you're abandoning your wife, no, I'm sorry, because again, he's being faithful. He's being, and don't get me wrong, Christ doesn't grade on a curve. He does not say you did a good job by not committing this sin if you've already committed it in your heart.
Yeah.
So as far as we know, this man, him not being physically attracted to his wife to engage in sexual relations with her, does not mean that he's doing it with someone else or that he's felt that in his heart. Now, I do believe that it could eventually, if he's not careful and guard his heart, it could possibly lead to that.
Yeah.
But, and by the way, let me just say, if he were to do that, no matter how big she got, that would still be his fault. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to be clear about that. Absolutely. That would, because there's no excuse for that.
Right.
But that does not give her carte blanche, or any wife for that matter, to not try and be as attractive for their husband. And again, I'm no expert. I've not read the book from cover to cover, but the Song of Solomon, to the as little understanding as I have of it, and I want to be clear. I've never read the book from the beginning to the end, but the little knowledge I do have of it, he's very attracted to
Right.
I'm not sure who the woman is. That is his wife.
Yeah, but both of them are mutually and equally attracted to each other, and they love each other's bodies, and they talk about each other's bodies as well. I want to leave one more point, and then I'm gonna let you run because I got to take another viewer that just came on. Philippians chapter 2, I believe, verses 3 to 4 speaks to this issue as well. When we are considering others more important than ourselves, I think that this would tie into the weight gain issue. I would even say weight loss, because you have bulimia and you have anorexia. So when you have a couple, or when you have a spouse that says, "Hey, baby, honey, dear sweetie, I love your size like this," to say or to act as though that individual or your spouse's opinion or perspective doesn't matter, and you do the opposite of that, or you let yourself go on either extreme, that's not showing love to your spouse at all. You're not considering that person as more important than yourself. And
hey, brother,
what happens to you happens to them.
Hey, brother Seiko, can I address, because someone said in the comments that financial hardship is the #1 contributor to obesity. I'm sorry, but that sounds like an oxymoron, because if you have less money, won't you eat less?
You would think so, unless you're getting your money, unless you're getting your food from somewhere. Because I would think, I mean, again, so you have people that respond to stress differently. But yeah, if lack of financial resources would cause stress and would cause you to probably want to eat less because you ain't got nothing really to eat. But I think that's where those two extremes come into play.
Or either they spend
exactly
on food,
exactly,
or junk food.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's where the perspective and the nuance comes in with that, because again, a person can be low on financial resources and money, and they can still find ways to feed their desires or their lust if left unchecked. So I believe there's a balance to that.
I agree, and like I said, I just think that and again, people have the right to love whatever kind of, some people like larger people, men or women, and that is fine. No one is saying you cannot have a preference. Well, actually, I take that back. They're usually saying that we as men cannot have a preference, especially when it comes to a woman's size. And I disagree with that. And so, I mean, again, like I said, when you asked, I have my standard of what, within a size range. There have been plenty of women who were godly women, loved the Lord, but I was just physically unattracted. I just couldn't do it. And it wasn't because that's all I saw of them. But again, I do think that you are supposed to be physically attracted to your wife.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the proverb speaks of the wife being the desire of his eyes. So yeah, I mean, and even with that, you still have this element or factor to where if an individual is letting themselves go, and there are no medical issues that are in play, then you have to ask yourself the question: is this person loving their spouse and understanding that this is the one that they made a covenant with? To number one, the husband is to live with his wife in understanding way. I got that. But the wife is also to recognize and understand that her whole body does not belong to herself. It belongs also to her husband. So it's both and. But this whole idea, I believe, of people making excuses for not maintaining their body, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit, then that's where the problem comes. And we can't make excuses. We have to start making confessions. But brother, I appreciate the dialogue.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. And glad to have you glad to have you come on, man. Come back on again soon. Another topic pops off.
Blessings.
All right, Doc. Take care, man. All right. Miss LaTanya, Miss Cure for the Soul, unmute your mic, ma'am. How are you doing this evening? Yeah, go ahead. You know the drill.
Okay. Hold up.
Hey, sis.
She got all these devices. She got to.
Okay. Hold up. Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Am I doing something wrong? Because I'm on your screen.
Yeah, mute the other one. Mute all your other devices except for the one you're on right now. Mute all your other devices.
Okay. I got it.
There you go.
Okay. Hi, the Woods.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, everybody in the chats.
Look, got almost 90 people in the chat.
Oh wow. This one is a touchy subject.
Speak on it, sister. Speak on it.
Okay, first of all, for us single people, okay,
Please.
that are navigating the single life as believers.
Yes.
Cure for the Soul Ministries, obviously, it's about spiritual growth, not just about hot topics, trying to start drama, watching other people channel to see what they doing so I could jump in front of them. That was a little shady, but
okay, that's all right. You got it. You got it.
it's about a holistic approach.
Yes.
And this is a very touchy topic, whether you are a believer or a non-believer. You know, maintaining the temple that God has gifted us with. Not only did he gift us with the gift of eternal life,
yes,
and redeeming us by the blood of the Lamb from eternal hellfire, he's going to give us a new body. But at the same time, the body that we have here is a gift.
Yes.
We are to grow spiritually to understand that, you know, I'm not supposed to mistreat my body with gluttony or any kind of sins that will cause me to stumble. But I am very sensitive from the perspective of understanding health, understanding hormones, and understanding that there could be a lot of underlying factors such as trauma, such as maybe I know people were mentioning thyroid issues, but even hormonal. But we as children of God, like, we have the ability to overcome, whether that means partnering with other brothers and sisters in Christ, partnering up with some sisters. I'm going to give Lavina a shout out in the audience because for me personally, although I'm a taller female, I have done a lot of work to make sure that my weight has been maintained literally pretty much all my life. But when the pandemic came, I ran into a struggle with my hormones and with other factors that contributed to me gaining about 25 or so pounds. Now, for me, I always had a system that I could go back to that pretty much worked for me. But I'm also at a certain age where my body and my metabolism is slowing down a lot. It's changing, and I have to learn new strategies and make different sacrifices to cope with the hormonal fluctuations where I can change my diet as how I did before, but now it's just like, we gonna chill right now. We ain't moving. I don't care how much you walk. I don't care how much you do this or do that. So what that does for me as a believer, for one, I was getting accountability. I partnered with Lavina, just pretty much checking in with her on a regular basis, day to day. This is what I'm eating. I worked out today, whatever. But when I mentioned also, and when I do fast, it's not a public announcement that I'm trying to make to everyone, like,
right,
hey everyone, I'm fasting. But I did just complete a 7-day fast where I had to seek the Lord for more wisdom on this particular issue.
Wow.
Because as believers, I believe that according to James 1:5, if we ask for wisdom, that he will give it to us. So if our bodies are changing, if we are in a marriage and it's something that we're struggling with, that it's being used to, I look at it as it's being used to draw us as believers closer to God. If it didn't work before, right?
Right.
Well, draw closer to God, because he wants to draw you in closer. It's something new that he wants to share with you about how to navigate this thing. And once we get that wisdom, we apply the wisdom.
That's
but
right.
we have to want it.
That's right. Say that. Say that.
Like we're not, when I'm working with women and I'm being transparent as far as being authentic and where I am spiritually as I'm seeking to be married, I cannot show up looking any kind of way
Wow.
and neglecting those areas of physical health, because for one, I love the Lord and I know that my body is to be used to glorify him. So I can't expect anybody to just take me as I am. And like I said, I'm not big by a lot of people's standards, but it's bigger than where I've ever been.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And we have to make a conscious effort when we get into a marriage that this is a partnership. Like if it's a covenant. If we're struggling with something, that's what the marriage spouse is for.
Right.
To be intimate with them as far as being transparent. This is what I've gone through. This is what I'm struggling with. I've tried 10 additional times and it's just not working. I really need additional support. Can we fast together? Can we pray together? Can we get another couple or someone else that have gone through the same thing? Can we get a personal trainer? Whatever we need to do, because the overweight person, I'm sure, does not enjoy being overweight. It may appear that way, but just like Monique, right?
Yeah.
Monique went for years.
You sure did. Yeah, that's a good example. Good point.
She went for years glorifying her health. And now she's training all the time. She's getting older. She needs more energy. She needs to be available for her family. She's eating like a plant-based diet most of the time. So not only are we to be sensitive, obviously, because, in a position of leadership or you just have brothers and sisters in Christ, you definitely don't want to shame them.
Right.
But at the same time, we're there to walk alongside them to let them know that there are solutions in the Bible for our health.
Yes. Yes. Now, what do you? I was looking at this article because you mentioned something about accountability, and we kind of talked about that as well too. If you don't mind, I want to share the screen and read this with you and with my wife, because I found this earlier today, and it talks about some of the reasons why women gain weight after marriage. Okay, and so it says, and this is from Traction Beauty. I don't know all about this particular website, but most of the information that I did see was pretty informative, and I wanted to share it with the audience. So it says, women often struggle with their weight after marriage, and for good reason. A study from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill found that women who were married became obese 27% faster than those who weren't. Here are some reasons as to why this might be, as well as tips on how to maintain a healthy weight. First thing it said is family dynamics change. Once you get married, your family dynamics change. You may find yourself having less time to cook or prepare food because of your work or other commitments. You have less motivation. Someone had mentioned that in the comments here about motivation, the importance of being motivated or having someone to help motivate you. You have less motivation. The study found that married women who had much lower levels of self-control. When you're single, it's easier to make healthy decisions when there are no external motivations involved in your decision-making process because you care about yourself more. There's no accountability. One thing that can help people stick to a healthy eating plan is accountability. But when you're in a relationship, there's no one else to keep you accountable. I guess it's meant to say, but your spouse. It says the study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine looked at how marriage affects weight gain. The study looked at 2,767 married women and found that 27% of them became obese within 5 years of getting. So this guy here says that
he falls into that.
He falls in that category, right? 4.5 years. This study says 5 years. Within 5 years, 27% of these women, 27% became obese after as a result of getting married. As for unmarried women, only 8% became obese after the same amount of time. This article will discuss why this might be happening and what you can do to maintain a healthy diet. And so this gives you some points on here. It says if you're single, it's easier to make healthy decisions because there are no external motivation. But when you're married, you may find yourself having less motivation or accountability to stay on track with your diet and fitness goals. And then it says, number one, plan healthy meals. Plan healthy meals before you get married for the first time and make sure your partner is down with the plan too. If you want to go out one night and come home and cook up something healthy, that can be eaten for lunch or dinner the next day. Be accountable. Try and find an accountability buddy who will help keep you on track. If not, create a blog or website where you can post progress reports so you can see if your efforts are paying off. Create a system. Create a system in which one person is responsible for cooking each night, so there's still someone holding everyone accountable for what they eat.
That's a whole lot.
It is.
That's a whole lot. And see, I guess the next section is talking about family dynamics.
Yep.
And, for those of us who are married, that family dynamic changes everything. Because remember, when we first got married, we didn't have any kids. What did we eat for dinner sometimes?
Cereal.
That's right.
We eat cereal.
We would sit on the floor and watch a movie eating cereal.
Yep.
We didn't have to fix a full-blown meal or nothing like that. We were satisfied with whatever, something quick, and we just ate that. But things change when you have a family.
Right.
When you have children. I mean, not only family dynamics change things, but we talked about it in the chat. I saw somebody talk about it in the chat. Pregnancy changes things.
Yeah.
Hormones changes things, because when you're pregnant, your hormones are different.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you give birth, things are different.
Yeah.
So it's all of that stuff that you have to consider with, contend with when you're trying to maintain a certain weight or a certain, look.
Yeah. And so, Tanya, what are your thoughts about so far? What you've heard in this blog here?
First off, I agree with my sister Sharon about everything she just mentioned about the dynamics and how things change. But unfortunately, we're looking at a new marriage where there are no children involved. Mm-hmm. And as you all know or don't know, I was married at one point in time, and I went through a situation where my ex-husband gained weight. It would be to a point where we would start a plan, because I'm on it. I'm getting everything we need. Let's start a plan. And we would start together. And before you know it, within a few days, he don't want to get off the couch. He don't want to go for the walks that we scheduled. He doesn't want to help with the cooking. He doesn't want to do anything that we were so excited about and planning. So we continued this little cycle for a while, and I just continued to just go and get the walks in and continue to do the things that we planned, hoping that he would catch up in the process. Mm-hmm. Well, he never wanted to do it. And normally when you have two people, I believe that it's a lot simpler to be accountable than being a single person, because not only does a single person get to hide out behind the scenes, a single person can go and fill the freezer with ice cream. They can emotionally eat because they're single. They could do a lot of things that they cannot hide from a spouse. So if you have gained maybe that much weight within that short time, obviously we know that there's some other factors, but if you want to change, let's just keep it real, Saiko and Sharon. This is 2022.
Yeah.
We've had the pandemic scare. We've seen a lot of loved ones leave this earth because of that virus.
Yeah.
And the truth is, it is more than enough information on the internet for free. People dedicate YouTube channels to health. People dedicate blogs, Pinterest posts. We have more than enough information. So the truth is, maybe in that point in time, if you're continuing to gain, now it's one thing, because if you're really trying, you'll probably stabilize at a certain weight gain. Not saying that you can't gain weight, but you'll probably stabilize around that same weight for a while. But if you're continuing to gain, that means that there's some sneak eating going on when somebody's at work. There's some sneak eating when the husband is gone. And it's kind of like you manipulated me. Kind of like you did all the work in the beginning to get me. And I was respectful to the fact that you were not, maybe as small as some women, maybe your same height, and that was fine. But at the same time, now we're in a new marriage with no children.
Right. And they're young, 29 years old.
So which means at 29 years old, your metabolism hasn't slowed down to like a 45-year-old woman.
Right.
Or a 50-year-old woman. So if you're just getting married and you're 45 and you're 55, those things could play a big role because of premenopause, menopause, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're that young, your metabolism is a lot faster. So it would sound like you kind of bamboozled me in a way.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. So in reading the initial post of this live, right? What are your thoughts about what the man said and and while we going off is what we have read? We probably would never hear what this woman said because he never mentioned the woman's name. She will know who he's talking about if she saw the post. But just based on what this man said about his wife on Facebook, what are your thoughts regarding him and the wife? What would you if you were to talk to both of those individuals? What would you say to them?
I may lose subscribers for this. But
newsflash, that ain't surprising.
That happens anyway. But I do understand the physical attraction part. She's not a new mom. Okay. She's not a new mom. She has not had children. They have not had children together yet. So I understand the attraction because, for one, if you're single and you're glorifying God through keeping yourself pure, staying out of sin until marriage, then you get into a marriage where you want to explore every part of that marriage physically and intimately. So if that much weight is gained within a short period of time, I understand where the man is coming from. Now, not to say I'm not understanding and sympathetic to wherever she may be struggling, but at the same time, we're in this together.
Yeah.
And we all get that weight is a struggle. We're not going to try to sugarcoat it. I mean, believers, we struggle with it. We're not going to try to act like it's just something that other people deal with. Like it is really challenging with all the foods that they make, all the processed foods in the aisles. And that food, they put chemicals, they put additives in it. The sugar is more addictive and as addictive as a drug because food and drug administration.
Come on, sis. Come on. Say
so
that.
Why are those lumped together? Because you ever tried to fast and come off of that stuff for a week, 21 days or something, doing like a modified Daniel fast or something like that? Like you're literally like you can barely function because you have been so hooked and so addicted to the chemicals in these foods. And once you come off of a fast, your taste buds get the chance to calm down. And then all the sugar cravings, they die down. And so we already know that food, the way they doing this, they in this for a living.
Come on.
They in this for profits.
Yeah.
So we cannot be ignorant of any of Satan's devices because at this point, you may be good all across the board. You may be serving, you may be giving, you may be loving your neighbor, but you're hooked on that one device and that stumbling block that he's used, and that's food.
Yeah.
And if you really want to change from that, we're in this together as a mate. You have to make sure that you're honoring your husband with your body as much as you can. Now, if he married you and you were a little overweight already, then like the
Right.
other caller said,
Right. Right.
it's not like he don't, you know, like
Right.
he don't get it.
Right.
We're talking about a drastic amount of weight in a short period of time, and that's not healthy, even for your heart, even for your cells, even for your organs, even for your blood flow, your blood pressure, your insulin, your hormones. Like that's not healthy at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to ask one more. I want to ask another question for you then, and just based on what I've observed too, dear. When I put this post up regarding what the man had said, from what I noticed, a lot of people were attacking the man, saying, "Well, look, for better, for worse, for better, for worse, for better, for worse. You made a covenant, made a covenant, made a covenant," and that is true. But I'm saying, but what if what he is saying is true as well? That his wife has let herself go, and she doesn't care. I'm just saying, if what he said is true, and she doesn't seem to care about her weight.
There's two sides to that coin. So, I mean, he has a responsibility, but she also has a responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess my question is, it just seems to me, a lot of the times when these situations emerge, the men are always the ones that receive a lot of the flack. You know, well, just step up, or just do this, just do that. You supposed to just love, you supposed to just love, as though the women are not responsible for what they do as well. I mean, if we have to hold down the entire house, and we're going to be responsible for the entire house, as God tells us we are, as the head, then my goodness, don't make it hard. Don't make it difficult, you know, for me. If especially if I know I cannot force you to do anything, you know, to do that would be abuse. But there's a lot of probabilities here. Well, what if this and what if that? There's a lot of what ifs. But I'm just saying, just based on what we have read, I'm just saying, just based on what we've seen, it just seems to me that, you know, the husband just supposed to suck it up, deal with it, and just move on. But then if that were flipped, if this was the husband being, you know, obese or being a glutton or not, you know, taking care of his responsibilities, then people was like, oh, you know, she might, you know, she might go just leave. Who needs to be putting up with this kind of stuff? And I'm saying that there needs to be balance, I believe, to the situation, and understanding as well. And I'm glad that you did mention the physical aspect, because that is key. That's I believe it's one of the key factors.
Right.
You know, he didn't just get with you, or a man is just not going to try to spend the rest of his life with you if he's not attracted to you physically. There's something that he saw in you physically to make him want to be with you. And then just to let yourself go that way, I believe that's not loving, that's not submitting to your husband, not considering your husband as well. But I guess people don't want to talk about that.
I'm not a man, so I definitely, you know, cannot speak from your perspective. But I did recall that in the article, it mentioned he got her a bike.
Yep.
And she stopped working out on the bike
after 3 weeks.
Yeah, so like Sharon said, we don't have the context, obviously, but and this is I'll say this for the single people that desire to be married. You're bringing your A game before the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So within that marriage, you have to believe that all the things that you worked on before, and things will shift, things
Right.
will change, a lot of other factors will come into play.
Yeah.
But when you start the habits before you get involved in a marriage, it will be a lot easier to keep them up within the marriage.
Yeah.
And I think these are things that should be discussed because people eat differently these days and times. Some people don't like red meat. Some people are more plant-based due to health reasons. So these kind of things, since we're talking about them on a love, life, and marriage with the Woods, these kind of topics should be brought up before we even get married as well.
Absolutely.
Because it could cause unnecessary problems. Like, we get that we're going to change, our bodies are going to fluctuate, we're going to gain some weight here and there.
Right,
We get that.
right.
That just happens with us being human.
Right.
But if we communicate and we can get together on a plan, there's going to have to be some finances involved. Maybe like he purchased a bike. You know, we may have to do some meal delivery for a short time because maybe we're working too much, and maybe cooking the right foods and planning out the meals are a little stressful.
Yeah.
So we may have to spend a little money for a little bit to get this thing on track. But I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, because some people's marriages, I don't know. But we need both people on the same page in order to make this thing work.
Right. I mean, Ecclesiastes says two are better than one, because you have more of a reward for your work, more profit for your work. So when you have two people on one accord, same mindset, achieving that goal or looking to achieve that goal, then it makes the process worth it. You know what I'm saying? But when you have one person pulling all the weight, no pun intended, but yeah, one person putting all the weight, but one person doing all of the work, while the other person is just basically just, coasting or not even caring, that makes it very hard I believe, for any marriage to survive and to be maintained, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Yeah. What about you, Sharon?
I concur with that. I'm just, thinking about some of the other, dynamics that I know people are talking about and thinking about, and which we kind of briefly just touched on. But I do think there's dual responsibility here. There's responsibility for the husband, like he said, but there's also responsibility on the wife. And I don't know, like we said, they didn't give us full detail. They didn't give us full disclosure here as to some of the background, but he said she wasn't a small girl when they got married. But what does that actually mean? Does he mean 200 pounds, not small, or does he mean 150, not small? I don't know, where that lies with him and what he actually means by that.
Yeah.
But again, I think there's responsibility on both ends.
Yeah. I think where the wife, the husband living with his wife in understanding way does not mean that he cannot confront his wife when there's sin. This could possibly be a sin issue. We don't know, but it could be. It could be an issue of sin. It could be an issue of like I said, lack of self-control. And if they're not Christians, then they have no governor. You know what I'm saying? The Holy Spirit, of course, by God's common grace, yes. But if they're not believers, if they're not Christians, then it's going to be harder for them to even deal with a lot of the things that as Christians would deal with, because now we have parameters and things in place that we can do these things together and hold each other accountable if one of us decides to fall off the wagon. But I'll even say, even with that, this is where church discipline comes in, because a person can still refuse to do that.
Yeah.
And let me just say this before I let you go, sister. Just like there are obese women, some of you obese preachers need to fall back. Yeah, I know everybody's quiet now, but let me just go ahead and put that in there as well too, because if you're behind the pulpit and I can see your stomach before I see your Bible sitting on the pulpit, then that may be something you may want to consider as well too. I'm just saying, because how do we tell people as ministers of the gospel how they are to live, and yet our bodies are a physical representation of God's stewardship that he has entrusted to us to maintain. And I'm just seeing a lot of heys behind the pulpit. I'm seeing a lot of them. And I'm saying if you're gonna talk about her, if you're gonna talk about this woman, or if you're gonna talk about the Lizzos of the world, then make sure, big and small, that gluttony or lack of self-control, that the proverb says, put a knife through your throat if you are given to a big appetite, the proverb says, then make sure that you're applying and practicing what you preach as well too. I'm just gonna put that out there because I want people to think that, hey, there ain't no ministers out here that got issues with their weight as well too. Yes, you do. Some of y'all can't wait to eat.
That seems to get glossed over, though.
Yeah, it gets glossed over.
Gets glossed over.
Yeah, it gets glossed.
Quite a bit.
When was the last time we've heard any preachers in the pulpit talk about their fork? I'll wait.
Not often.
I'll wait. When we play some Jeopardy music, I can do that too. I'm just asking because we know if we're gonna talk about the wife. Let's keep this thing balanced as well too. But perfectly said. You don't have no viewers after this.
I find that the church has more of a struggle with weight than the world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what I've noticed over the years.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like a taboo topic, just like some of the other things we discuss on our channel, but we're not going to bring up now. But were taboo topics.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't, you don't discuss certain things. And it's like, oh, that's untouchable. You can't talk about that.
Right. And I just think that we have to be balanced with this. Because God says he hates unjust scales. Proverbs 11:1. He hates unjust scales. Keep that same energy. We're going to talk about obese women. We're going to talk about women being, overweight and all this other kind of stuff and what you expect. Then, bro, make sure you're maintaining that as well. That's just I believe.
Can I just
absolutely, please, absolutely.
It's about you.
Thank y'all for coming. Love y'all. Y'all have a good night. Happy Labor Day. Look at the time. Woo-wee, good Lord. Let me go ahead and put this thing up here. This thing is what my closeout show thing.
No, it's not time.
I'm gonna let you all finish, but I will say this. Thank you both for having me on. And just remember, Romans 12:1 and 2, that we have to, as believers, right? We have assignments to do. We were created for good works in Christ Jesus.
Yes.
So in order to do those good works, getting out, meeting people in the marketplace or wherever that may be, if you're called to speak somewhere, if you're called to travel somewhere, minimize the blow as much as you possibly can by being prepared. Meaning whatever you can do right now so that the Lord can use you more in different settings, in different environments, because you're taking care of the temple that he's gifted you with. We want to minimize the blow so that we could be available first and foremost for the work that he's called us to and that he's created us for.
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
And sister, let people know a little bit about your podcast before you go, how they can reach out to you, how they can contact you, should they want to subscribe. Hopefully they are after this live.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of these topics, they get very touchy and we're not loving enough and you were not sensitive enough. But I love people and I get that we gain weight. I get that. Cure for the Soul on YouTube is my YouTube channel. cureforthesoul.com is my website. We're all about spiritual growth and just living a life holistically dedicated to Christ. So you can check me out on YouTube and cureforthesoul.com.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, sister.
Thanks, sis.
Thank you both for having me. You're welcome.
No problem.
Okay.
Take care,
bye.
sis. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let's take the next viewer that's coming on. X got you in the green room. Stand by after I bring Brother Stephen on. Brother Stephen, welcome to the podcast. You have a comment or question about tonight's topic? You're on live.
Yeah, sure, Seiko. I do have a comment. Can you hear me okay?
Sure, can hear you great.
Yeah, I agree with all that you were saying, and also Tanya. I think what you were saying is very enlightening. But on the other hand, when it comes to what I believe agape love, what the Bible talks about agape love, if you marry somebody and they are overweight, or, like pretty much what the pandemic did to a lot of people is cause them to just sit around and be a couch potato.
Mm.
I think it's very important to realize that the agape love covers everything. So when she becomes unattractive to me, my agape love is supposed to cover that. Because if we, from the very beginning, ask questions and we have the important conversations that we're supposed to have, two things I think are very important. One, your spouse needs to be open to change. Once you hear the truth, be ready to change. Secondly, she must love God with all heart, mind, soul, and strength. Speaking from the man's point, there's a lot of things that you have said, Seiko, listen to you and to your wife. I've had to change my theology. That's because you spoke the truth. So I need to make sure that the person that I'm marrying is open to that. So when you're not losing weight and you're gaining weight, you need to be open to me as the lead person in the marriage. I'll work with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get on that bicycle with you. I'm 60 years old.
Wow.
And I work out. I eat right. I eat so many roots. You think I'm Jamaican, and I'm African American. Yeah, but I'm still single, Seiko.
Wow.
And I thank God I didn't get married before now, because I was so selfish. I was just so immature. But I think it starts with love. And I just want to say one thing. When I ask women that I'm interested in dating, I say, what is your relationship like with the Lord? And they say, He's great. He's in my life. He's everything. And then I ask them this question. I've heard you say this too. Do you read? Not read, because the Bible doesn't say read. The Bible says study. Do you study and pray every day? And they give me a different answer. I said, okay, well, how can you tell me that you love God? He's everything to you if you don't pray and study every day. So that is my basis for being able to see, do I want to go further with this person? Do I want to develop this into some type of relationship? Well, being open-minded to change, things are going to happen in a marriage. I'm not saying this from experience. I'm not saying this from marital experience. I'm saying this from my own experience. And
Gotcha.
I've taken so many marriage courses. But yeah, I don't want to take up a lot of time because I know you're about to end, and I just came on late. But those are my thoughts, Seiko.
And I wanted to ask you this question though, Stephen. How long have you been following the channel? I mean, I know this is the first time I've actually seen you. So how long have you been following this channel, and what brought you on to chime in?
Well, about 6 months ago, I would say about 6 months ago, I started watching Corey Minor.
Oh,
and Corey started talking about, that guy. Corey started talking
that
about
hater.
you. Yeah. And he has actually had my professor on, because I'm in seminary right now, Colorado Biblical University.
Okay.
And he knows one of my professors very well.
Yeah.
And Dr. Christopher Cohn. So I started listening to him, and then he spoke about you, and then I subscribed to your channel, and I'm like, wow, between you and Corey, I mean, there are other good YouTubers out there, but between you and Corey, and sometimes your wife comes up, I mean, man, I've had to really change my theology. So I appreciate you, brother. I really do.
God, man.
And I appreciate your wife as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. God bless you, man. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
Take care now.
All right, you too.
All right now. All right, we're gonna bring this brother on, and I'm gonna time him. He's gonna get timed. This guy right here, I'm gonna time him because everybody knows once he gets started.
Hey, you don't need to time me. But what I'm doing is I'm sitting around here looking at all these bugs, and I said to myself, if I go live and a bug flies in my mouth like that reporter, it's about
Isaiah Carey,
man, dude. So, just wanted to chime in for a second because I take a whole different perspective, right? Yeah. You see my heavy bag in the back, and me and my son, we go through MMA type stuff, right? But what a lot of people are missing is the fact that weight gain is crazy, and then managing it, right, is even crazier. So if you were to take the carbs and the amount of sugars that are in food, and it doesn't matter if it's healthy, it doesn't matter if you go to the vitamin shop, it doesn't matter the amount of sugar that's in foods, period. It's addictive. Now, when you look at stats and reporting, the CDC says that sugar is just as addictive as heroin.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to say to yourself, I'm coming off Twinkies or donuts, that's like a dude trying to come off, you know, what'd you say yesterday? When you mess up my brand, you know, when you cut it down, you know, it's like blue magic.
Yeah.
So it becomes rough in a lot of areas. And man, we have to be honest. If we're gonna be, I see all the brothers in the chat. You know, first of all, you know, we brothers, so we don't take too kindly to implants anywhere, right? We don't do that. So if it's false, we're not into it.
Right.
That's what other people do, but not us. So if you want the chest and you want the behind, guess what that is? Fat.
Come on.
It's being healthy. You know, it's being thick. And you guys know, my brother that was just on, he's 60. I'm 58. I'll be 59. And you guys knew in the 10th grade, you wanted the thick sister. You didn't want the thin cakes. You wanted the sister that was healthy, you know, on the drill team. Ready? Okay. And you was like, yeah. Well, guess what? That ready okay at 17 is hard to manage at 29, 30. And then don't stick a baby on top of that and I have to eat for my child and make my child what it is, and then breastfeed and all this. So now you're looking at easy. A woman gains anywhere between 65 to 70 pounds during pregnancy. And then she eats to do all the things that's necessary. And then she's got to turn around and deal with kids and come home and be domestic. And then all of a sudden you want her to jump and become 24-hour fitness. Dude, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So
amen.
You know, so not to take away from that, but I'm just looking at my wife, four girls, you know, 2 boys, 2 girls, and I'm looking, and a lot of times I'm just gonna keep it 100. Saiko, you got a tapeworm in you, homie. You got some parasites in you.
That's what I was gonna say, X.
Hey, you can eat whatever you want, and it just run through you like water. But well, brothers like me that gotta go work out and exercise, what I can say is this: if the family is not together on one accord, it's not gonna work.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, I almost kicked my daughter out the house because, you know, she brought home some Krispy Kremes and had the audacity to stick the whole bag in a refrigerator. Dude, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was calling on Jesus, the Holy Spirit, John Calvin, Jonathan Edwards, everything. Dude, I was Pookie at the Carter.
Yeah.
So
it's real, bro. It's
not
real.
to take away where people are, but we always want them thick. We always want them healthy. And then we have a tendency to knock them when they're not what we think they should be.
Yeah.
And understand this: as we get older, we lose testosterone. They lose things as well. To try to tell a woman at 45 years old to lose weight, well, first of all, a lot of the stuff that you see in the fitness magazines, they're taking stuff. They're taking testosterone. They're taking things to get thin. Trust me, I go video them all the time. So when a woman's body changes, we have to be sympathetic, right? We really do. And even at that, if you push out a couple of babies, guess what? Your abs ain't looking the way they used to. You know, you got shredded cheese all over the place. Let's just keep it 100. So if you're going to be honest about this thing, first of all, just like what you say, you have to be in love with your woman.
Right.
And it's got to be more than just surface, right? But that also goes into the cultural narrative of what we look at and what we think is nice and what we think is fine and what we think is crazy. See, if you're trying to bring home a Beyonce into the house, you're going to be frustrated because Beyonce just a look. You know, no intellectual mind, no. What do you think about world agendas? What do you think about academia? No, she just a look, you know. Well, how do you know that, Pastor Zeres? Well, look at Jay-Z and look at the family dynamic and look at everything, right?
Right.
So it's different. And so if everybody's not on board, if the family's not on board, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Everybody got to fall in love with celery. And one of the things that I figured out, I'm about 203 right now. I was about 230, right? And what I found out is the evening exercise is the most important. It's the stuff that you do not before work, but after work. Everybody says, well, don't eat after 5. Nah, it ain't the after 5. It's what you do in the evening to keep your metabolism straight when you go to bed. And then it's what you also get up and do in the morning. So if you're the rush type, which most women are, if you're thinking about everybody else, which most women are, if you're last, then and you are, most of the time, healthy stuff's not going to work for you, because you got to get proper rest. You have to have the mental faculties for that, and all those things combined in to keep your body where it is. If you don't run into those dynamics, and you got a dude too like us, that's talking about, oh, you're a little heavy, you're a little big. Well, my wife told me, step on the scale, and let's look at what Kaiser says. Dude, I was like, dude, my wife challenged me. She looked at me, and her BMI was like 17, 16.
Wow.
Dude, my BMI was 29.8.
And she just looked at you like, okay, now what? What's up?
Oh, she looked at me and she said, so what's your excuse? You play football? I was like, I did. She said, darling, quit it. That was in high school 25 years ago.
Yeah. And let me ask you this question though. Ed.
Yeah.
And I'll let you run, and we'll wrap it up in a minute. But let me ask you this question. So, based on what you read on the post that the man put up, again, all we can go off is of what he said. Okay.
Right.
And of course, the first to present his case seems right. To another common question. We got that.
Yeah.
I hope no one is, and let me just say this for myself, and my wife is right here. I hope no one is taking what I'm saying regarding this situation and thinking I'm fat shaming this woman or anything like that. But what I am saying is, if this is the case, that if she has no kids, she's 29 years old. Yes, she may have been plus size. You can say it's okay. So let's say he met her when she was a plus size person. And for me, I think some men don't have a problem with a plus size woman. I mean, it's it's based on the height and proportion and things like that, right? So if this woman chose to let herself go this way, what I'm asking is what is wrong with what the man is saying? If, and I do mean if, with capital letters, bold print, and flashes. What I'm asking is, what if the husband is saying this because this is his experience, and he's not trying to out her or not trying to put her on blast? I mean, because again, we don't know if this person is saved. We don't know this person's spiritual makeup or dynamic at all. We don't know.
It's a cry for help.
Yeah, thank you. What if it's a cry for help? I mean, because matter of fact, he said at the end of his statement, I'm open to any advice or whatever that someone can have, that someone can offer me. But so I'm asking, if that is the case, what are your thoughts if you had to talk to both of those people, that couple? If you had one time just to talk with them, what would you say to the man, or what would you say to the woman? That's why I asked everybody that came on the.
I'm glad you mentioned it, and I'm not going to use any names, but that happened in a marriage counseling session.
Sure.
And it was actually after divorce. A person that I knew, he was into hefty women, right? And she went overboard. And about 12 years later, he bounced. And when he bounced, he got into another relationship with another person. And what happened was that she felt real bad and went through the whole, depression thing. And she really decided to turn the page out of anger to him, right? And she turned the page, dude. And she went at exercise with the Rilla. And he saw her about 3 years later. And he was like,
Yeah.
And the girl he was with, she was doing the same thing, hefty now, 6 years later, heftier. And so they got into a conversation because they had kids. And he says, well, why couldn't you have done this when we were married? She said, how come you didn't help me when we were married? It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
See, guys, if we're going to take care of our cars, if we're going to press our clothes, if we're going to make sure our ties, that's an effort, right? She don't get like this overnight,
right?
At all. And let's keep it 100. See, Seiko, you probably don't go through that. You probably go on vacation with you and your wife, and you just put your beach shorts on and roll. Big girls like me, I'll be trying to find a shirt that's big enough. And I try to find some pants that's big enough. But us, come on. All I would have said to her was like, when you go to a pool party, what you feel like. And then let's work on changing that. And I'm down with you.
Right.
You see, what most people don't understand is the fact that, dust comes from shedding skin. And if you work out avidly enough and you do it enough, guess what? all the chicken litter that's around your elbows and around your shoulders, it leaves. And you'll look up maybe 2 years later. People often ask, how do these people in Hollywood look right? Is because they exercise, they sweat, and they shred, and they do it consistently over time. And you'll look up at a person that has stretch marks 3 years ago, ain't got no stretch marks today because shin skids. So as the older layers shed and the newer layers come through, when you take care of it, as you shrink, everything shrinks, but you got to be committed to that over a time period.
Over
So
time, yeah.
when I'm done, I'm gonna show y'all what a 59-year-old dude look like after dropping pounds and shredding. Then it's gonna be like, for real? I'm like, yes, let's come get on this journey so we can be healthy. Because you're right. You can't get in the pulpit and be talking about I'm slaying demons and God is mighty with me, but all of a sudden, church's tricking come up and you turn into a coward. And Krispy Kreme show up and you saying, well, I'm a what they said, I'm a saint and what do they call it? I'm somebody in training or whatever. Nah, man, that stuff don't work. Yeah. So we just need to do it collectively. And I believe if we love one another as spouses, it'll work. But we gotta love. It's like talking to a dude, right? And I'll end with this. I'm not attracted to her. I'm like, okay, so how attracted would you be if there was a nuclear warhead and you the only dude and you the only female? You find some attraction then, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would. You'd find, so you wouldn't be celibate then. You'd look at her and you find out what God made and you'd be satisfied. But when you tricked by BET, the okie doke, the false hair, the false this, it's hard to be attracted with normal. It's hard.
Yeah.
And see, that's one of the things that I went through when I was on tour. God said, love that. I'm like, that ain't Hammer time. Wait a minute. And God said, yeah, but I created that. Hollywood created this. So how do you do that? You trust God, you go into the spirit, and you rethink your whole assessment about female anatomy. You rethink everything. And as you begin to look at Proverbs and you look at the Songs of Solomon, it's her breast, not the one you see on TV. Exactly. So fall in love with that. It's the fat she got. Fall in love with that. And if you fall in love with that, trust me, you'll be happy and y'all will work together.
Yeah. And again, if they don't have the Spirit of God in them, then they've already lost the battle. It takes the power and Spirit of God, and it takes submission to his spirit and his will and accountability to make this thing.
Hey, bro, when my wife looked at me and she saw that 29% BMI, dude, we went to bed. I was moving. She said, "Move your hand." I said, "No." She said, "No, move it. I like your fat." I said, "Forget you, man. You talk about insecure. I was insecure, but guess what? My wife get up faithfully at like 5 o'clock in the morning and do her ab work. So guess what? After she talked about me, I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning doing my ab work too. I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of this because you ain't gonna be talking about me.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works. You work together.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's key, and that's where it's key. I mean, again, I told me and my wife, we was talking about. I said, I know when we do this live, this could probably be one of the realest lives we've done because people are gonna really we're gonna really see what people think about this, and so that's why I've been trying to be careful about putting my view in it. We have our positions regarding it. But I wanted to see exactly what does the church see and how does the church, feel about this. Vin, you can come on in. Come on in, V. Come on in. Absolutely. Hey,
man, we gotta work tomorrow. It's itching. I'm looking at it. He ain't about to fly in my mouth. No.
but no, man, I do appreciate your perspective, of course, as usual, because again, this is how I believe the body of Christ. When as iron sharpens iron, we all sharpen each other. So, but we have to be honest and real. I just believe that what do we want to say about this man and what he put? Some of y'all feel that way, but you're not telling your wife.
You won't say it, yeah.
And vice versa, you're not telling your husband. You know what I'm saying? And so you're kind of like a boiling kettle. You just, you got it all in here until something just tips it and you go off. And this is why it is important to have these open and honest communications. I mean, because I guess my thing is maybe what pushed him to make these statements on social media was because of what he did not get at home as far as, the response. I mean, if she... Yeah. And again, I'm not attacking the woman. I'm just saying sometimes people go out, and I'm not talking about adultery. I'm talking about people go out to get advice, or people go out to share, or to even sometimes vent, if you want to use that term, because they're not being heard, or because the place that they should go, whether it's home or at church, they're not getting what they are looking for. Yeah. And this has nothing to do with quote unquote sin, but we all are human beings.
Right.
We all are human. And sometimes we need to be able to say, hey man, this is where I am with this. Yeah. This is where I am with this. And I'm asking for advice or help with this again. And I'm just saying, I'm just putting the what ifs out there.
And maybe she doesn't know, or he doesn't know how to communicate, or they don't know how to communicate with one another openly enough to say, okay, I'll receive what he's saying.
Yeah.
And start working on that. Or he doesn't want to say enough in fear of offending her. But
yeah, and I'm just putting that out there. It just, for all of us to even consider that.
Right.
If anything, I think if we can learn from this, we should as Christians learn that on what not to do and how we are to help each other. If we are accountability partners to other people, hey, if you're seeing something, if you're noticing something about me, I know for me, I can't walk around being stank. I can't. I can't. And I think where hygiene is also important.
Right.
Well, we don't want to talk about that.
Right.
But hygiene is just as important as well. I mean, if your wife, if it turns your wife off because you're walking around stinking, if you weren't stinking when you met her, why are you walking around letting yourself go? You know what I'm saying? Because you got her. And I think that should be equal and reciprocated on both sides. But sometimes we find this imbalance. And I'm just trying to, hear different perspectives and sides on that. That's all. Yeah. So, but yeah, I appreciate it, my brother.
All right, man.
Stay out on the flies, boy.
Hey man, I'm trying. He inches this way though. I'm trying.
You're gonna pull up on you like a crib.
Dude, big time. About to put him in a headlock. All right,
man. All right, man. Later. Yes, sir. Hey, sis.
Hey, can you hear me?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We can hear you well. How's it going?
Good. I just want to give my 2 cents. I wanted to get in earlier, but
no problem.
Taking care of the kids. But
yeah.
But anyway, I have to agree with Pastor X. And upon reading the blog post, I can see where I can understand where the husband is saying, and I can see what the wife could be saying, even though there wasn't much perspective on her end. But as a lot of people have stated, that men are visual, and I know for myself, when my husband met me, I was $150. I had no kids. I was working out 3 times a week, eating healthy. And once I had kids, it was like, okay, it's no longer about me. So I began to neglect, the things I need to take care of myself, because I was a new mom and trying to do all the things. Even though I never gained a whole lot of weight, but as of recent, about 8 weeks ago, I just something just clicked inside of me. I stepped on the scale and I was 187, I believe. And I was like, okay, even though my husband's been married to me for 9 years now, I want to keep him. And
hold on. No. We ain't gonna gloss over that statement you just made. Hey, wait a minute. What did you wait a minute. Hold on now. Hold on. What did you just say? Say it slow now, because I think we all need to hear that. Go right ahead. Go ahead. Proceed. But continue. Go ahead. Say it again. Repeat that.
All right now, Seiko. But no, I wanted to keep him. Even though, I had in my mind that, okay, my husband is not going to step out on his marriage. But if he did, I don't want to be the cause of that.
Wow. Wait, Lavina, hold on. I know I stopped you again. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're not saying that he would be right in doing that or justified in doing that. So let's make that clear, ladies and gentlemen. She's not saying that. But what you are saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to put no words in your mouth. What you are saying is if that were to happen, you want to make sure that it's not because of what you ain't doing.
Correct.
Can I ask a question, though? Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And please chime in, wife.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it when the roles are flipped, the statement is if you won't, somebody else will, when it comes to the man not handling his business?
Mm-hmm.
I see an imbalance there. Again, no one is justifying it, but we can't act as though, I put it this way. The Bible talks about us provoking each other.
Correct.
To sin.
Mm-hmm.
A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
Correct.
Right? The Bible talks about how a person's mouth can cause himself to be bust in the mouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are causes and effects. But why is it an excuse, or people don't want to acknowledge that can even be a reason? And I'm not trying to gas you up and nothing like this is, but I do believe that needs to be clearly stated, to where sometimes women can take advantage or not appreciate the man as well too. Because I hear too many women all the time, you need to appreciate me. You need to, I'm a queen. Okay, well, is he your king?
Correct.
True.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It goes both ways. My husband is the king of my home. So if anything, I don't want him to step out because of something that I'm lacking or something that I'm not doing. When he married me, I was $150. That's the way I want him to keep his eyes on me. And that's not to be arrogant or anything. I want him to keep his eyes on me. So I just had to say, you know what? I had to have an honest conversation with my husband. I said, babe, I want to get back to $150, but the way that my job is set up, the way that we have 2 young kids, I cannot focus on working out, then come home and cook, then come home and clean. Like, I could easily just go back and being neglectful and just eating whatever I want. Yeah. And so he was like, you know what? I didn't look at it that way, babe. I didn't look at it that way. Wow. And so he was like, you know what? I'm willing to help you. What do you want me to do? And my husband, he's plain, he's black and white. Just tell him what to do.
That's right. Yeah.
He doesn't want to try to figure it out. So right. I had to learn that about him. So I said, okay, babe, can we look into Home Chef? So Home Chef is expensive, but I'd rather pay for Home Chef than to pay for a expensive hospital bill that's more than Home Chef.
Or a home nurse.
Exactly.
Come on. Yeah.
Or paying for medication because I didn't do what I was supposed to do a long time ago.
Wow.
So we done Home Chef. We purchased these meals. It's delivered to us for 4 meals a week. He helps me cook. So we balance it out. Monday and Wednesdays, I cook. Tuesday and Thursdays, he'll cook the meal. And then on those days that I don't cook, that gives me a chance to work out while he's taking care of the kids.
Wow.
So he, and I'm about to cry because I really appreciated my husband doing that for me. And that's what it's about. It's about support. When you're married, you support each other.
Come on.
And that's why I had that question about, okay, if he bought her a bike, is he out there riding the bike with her? Don't just buy her a bike and tell her to go ride it, but you're not going alongside of her and riding with her, keeping her motivated, keeping her pumped up, saying, you got this, babe. This is what my husband does to me. He was like, you got this, babe. Keep going, keep pushing. And I keep going. And now I'm down to 175.
Come on now.
Within a matter of weeks. It was really all because of my husband come alongside of me and saying, you know what can I do to help you stay motivated? And I was like, okay, I need help with the kids. Because if I got to cook, if I got to do all the cooking, I'm not going to stay focused.
Right.
So he's eating healthy with me.
Of course.
He's praying with me. He's pushing me. Even when times I felt like I wanted to give up, he was like, nope, we're not going to do that. Keep going. So I'm just here to say, I pray that some husbands will just come alongside of their wives and try to get an understanding of what could be happening, of why they're gaining weight, instead of just looking at them and saying, well, you're gaining weight and you're neglecting yourself. Try to come alongside of them and just be there and listen. Just listen and hear, and then be willing to go the extra mile to help your wife. Because you're married to her. You're married, right?
Amen.
It's for better or for worse, right? Okay. So come alongside of her, help her, support her, whatever she needs, so that she can stay motivated. Because it's hard trying to do this on your own.
Right.
It is.
It is very hard, especially when you're trying to eat healthy and your husband eating Chick-fil-A and McDonald's. Like,
he's not even eating it in the car. He's not even eating it in the car, Lavinia. He bring it in the bag. You can smell the fries. Like,
you smell the fries all in the back seat. You're like, wait a minute, what is going on? So your mind automatically goes back. Chick-fil-A is like one of the best restaurants, in my opinion. But I'm like, man, I want some fries too. Anyway, I'm just like, that's what I wanted to say. I just appreciated my husband coming alongside of me. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for him. So I just asked for the husbands, just go the extra mile to help your wives, because it's harder for women to lose weight versus men.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that my husband can eat a whole bucket of ice cream and can drop weight within a matter of days. But me, let me eat a whole bucket of ice cream, I'm gaining weight. I'm gaining weight straight up.
I was gonna say the same thing, Vina, about this one here.
Hold on, who's this one?
You.
This one here. You see that this one here. This one got a name. It ain't belong either. But go ahead.
Whatever.
Look, leave Miss Sharon alone. Go ahead.
Thank you, Vina.
I knew she was gonna say something. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, we've been married 22 and a half almost years, and Saiko has probably gained maybe, and I do say maybe, 15 pounds in 20 something years.
That's because you feed me good. Thank you.
I do feed you well.
You do, yeah.
However, you eat Better Maids. You eat Skittles.
Hey, hold on.
You eat ice cream.
Hold on.
Before you go to bed.
Hold on, man. We're not.
And nothing happens to you.
Hold on. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why are we bringing up my?
We keeping it real, right?
Why we? You ain't got to keep it real with me. You ain't got to keep it real with me. We ain't talking about me. We talking about other folks.
We're talking about how hard it is for women to lose weight. That's how we got on this subject, right?
All these people in here. Like that. Okay. Conversation about this one.
Anyway, so but that is true, Lena. I mean, guys, men do not struggle. Most men. I'm not gonna say all, because there are men that do struggle with their weight.
Right.
But most men do not struggle as much as women do with their weight.
Yeah.
Like you said, after childbirth, nursing, and then you got another one coming on. It's like it's constant. And then when you get older, you get over 40, your hormones change. So therefore, it's harder for you to lose weight after that.
And I would say this for me, this has been it brings me back to one situation that my wife and I went through. And you remember it because you lost weight.
Yes.
And
I
my
lost
wife
about 30 pounds.
I mean, almost. But she lost weight within, I think, in a matter of weeks. It wasn't. I mean, it didn't just happen. It just. I think you ended up. It
was about 6 weeks total.
You were sick.
Yeah.
Didn't know. We didn't know what happened. I mean, she. And a matter of fact, I have pictures of her, and it wasn't because anything that she did. I think it was some type of intestinal situation or whatever like that.
Intestines were enlarged.
Yeah. And so I remember my wife during that time was more clingy to me. And I would ask, like, what's wrong? Why you like, just come hold me. And I said, okay. And first of all, I can't keep my hands off her, no way. But it was even more so she wanted that affirmation because she thought that because she was losing weight that I would lose attraction to her. And I'm like, oh no, absolutely not. And so that made me even, more conscientious of her and her feelings in her heart, to whereas in those moments, she was unsure about what was going on with her weight, with her physical body and her health. We didn't know.
We didn't know.
So we go to the doctor. We you know, praying, asking for God to, you know, to heal or find out whatever this was, and kind of find out it was something that was able to, I think, either to pass through or something like that. But the reason why I say that is because even for those of us as men, the sensitivity or the sensitive nature of our wives, when Peter says that we're to dwell with our wives in an understanding way, and grant them honor as a fellow grace of life, as a fellow heir to the grace of life, so that our prayers may not be hindered. I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. Our wives are the prayer plumb line to God.
Amen.
How we treat our wives will determine and really decide how God responds and treats us. Now, the reason why I say that is because if we're not careful, then the things that we may say, although we think this may be helpful, it can be more hurtful and damaging. And this is why we have to know how we are to communicate with our wives. And so when we talk about weight or the weight gaining or things of that nature, some things you can say to your wife can receive it, but if someone to say that to their wife, that will just destroy them. I mean, that could just tear them apart. Yeah. So you have to know your spouse. You have to know your wife, and that goes for the husband as well too. But we're talking about with the situation with the original post. That is, I think that's a real serious situation where a man at one time was attracted to his wife, and because of this excessive, you know, gaining of weight. Again, it didn't just happen over time. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It came through a course of time. So what were the conversations there? Was she listening? Was she not? How was he communicating? We don't know. But what we do see is an overall situation that is affecting, you know, all communities, particularly within the Black community. And we can make excuses as far as, you know, food deserts all we want, but we got smartphones. We're not living in the era, Lavina, of our ancestors, where they were basically whatever they ate was for survival. Mm-hmm. We have choices, and so eating healthy may be expensive, but we have smartphones that's more expensive. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's also just based on, you know, what we decide and the choices that we make. Choice. Yeah. Correct. It's a matter of sacrifice. Yeah, sometimes. It's a matter of discipline. It is a matter of sacrifice, and we can't look for these quick results. Things happen, you know, over time, good and bad. But it's through consistency that we can make changes, and through accountability, I believe it definitely can help. Biblical, godly accountability, right. At that. So, but any other final thoughts, sis, that you wanted to make?
No, not at all. Thank you for bringing me on. I love y'all.
Love you too, sis.
Appreciate you, my sister.
Bye.
All right, take care. All right. So, any closing thoughts there? We're gonna wrap this up. Esteban, I'm gonna have to try to catch you on the flip side, brother, because we got to wrap this up. Any closing thoughts there?
I don't think so. More than what we've already said. You know, being sensitive on each side. The husband being sensitive to his wife, mm-hmm. and being concerned about what it is that she's physically going through, or what it is she might be mentally going through. Right.
Because it's definitely got to be a hard issue. I mean, that's.
But then also her as a wife, mm-hmm. being able to be open and communicate with her husband about, hey, I'm struggling with this, or hey, I need your help with this, and being willing to be vulnerable mm-hmm. to him, in hopes that he will come alongside her and do what, you know, helps her to do what needs to be done.
I think if we were to walk away or take away anything from this live, I believe, again, Philippians chapter 2, verses 3-4 should be the flagship verse when it comes to married couples. If I'm considering you and you're considering me, mm-hmm. then selfishness dies.
It dies, right?
I mean, the head of selfishness dies at the roots, because if I'm always focusing on, well, how is this going to affect my wife? How is this going to affect my children? If what I do, and we talk about this in our own family. See, we talk about the importance of family. We drum this, we beat this like a drum to our daughters. what you do is
everybody.
It does. It don't just affect.
It's not just you.
Yeah, it ain't just your life. It ain't just your life, sweetie. It's your life. It's our life. So decisions that you make is going to affect us. And then lastly, oh man, Chuck Swindoll did a series on biblical parenting, and he talks about how sins of the fathers, how the accountability or the lack thereof, or the choices that we make can affect our lineage, can affect our legacy. Now, we're not talking about generational curses, but we are talking about consequences. Right. Some things can carry over to other generations.
Because you don't know how long those consequences are going to
We don't know. We don't know
how deep they're going to run.
Yeah. So we're not talking about where you're not responsible for what you do because what somebody else did. No. We're talking about how our attitude and what we do and how we relate to one another, because more is caught than taught. More is caught than taught. So we have to be careful when we are dealing with these issues regarding our health. This is why doctors ask about our family history. They're not asking about our family history just to get information. Right. They want to see if there are some patterns of genetic issues or health issues that you and I do that is connected to our ancestors, to our family. So I just think that those things need to be talked about and considered as well too. So again, we wanted to do this live. We didn't want this to be pre-recorded because we wanted to have those of you to share your heart, to share your thoughts regarding this issue. We're going to have more of these, in the future as we deem it necessary to have. But we definitely appreciate all of you. The comments, some of the comments were lively in the chat. Let me just say this as well. Y'all know I'm one for keeping it real. I'm one for keeping it, lively and things of that nature. But we need to be mindful of each other's opinions and how we may disagree with each other. And this is a man talking to other men. Okay. We can have those barbershop style conversations, but I hope and pray that at the end of this live, the end of the day, that we hear each other's heart and we hear what each other is saying and not what we think that they're saying, and then go based on that instead of just asking questions and say, hey, what did you mean when you said this? Because when you said this is how I interpreted it. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a chance to go through all these comments, but I did see some back and forth between some brothers and sisters here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would just encourage all of you, again, just to be understanding. Everybody's path is different, and all of us have different experiences that we don't always have together. But we can just say this: at the end of the day, if you are a brother or sister in Christ, then I should love you enough to tell you the truth, and love you enough to make sure that what I'm saying is not to harm you, but it is to help you. And so that's why we do what we do. I mean, this is coming from a person that keeps it real, and I'm going to always have my personality that God has given to me. But I don't want to disregard how people feel, especially if they're coming from a place of sincerity. Right. And they're asking, genuine and sincere questions. But when you come off accusatory, when you're just basically thinking that, hey, I don't care what you think, it's what it is, what it is, then that's where we have this, this conflict. So let's just be mindful about that. All right, going forward. So hope you all enjoyed the live. Hope you all enjoyed the conversation, the perspectives. Again, subscribe to these channels that I mentioned: Chelsea's Live Line, Cure for the Soul, Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods. Those of you who have not subscribed to Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods, we would definitely and really appreciate that you do that, because it helps build up our subscription base, and then that way we can have our own live stream there. And do live podcasts without having to link all these different channels that we have here with BCV and with Facebook. So we definitely appreciate that. Hope you all have a great evening. Appreciate the love and the support. And y'all know the drill. Whatever you do, do all to the glory and the honor of God. God bless.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.